Hey y'all, it's Steve, Hobo with Wood. Today we're going to look at more fun with lasers and mirrors. I had some success with engraving glass and mirrors, and I'll put a link to the mirror video down below. Well, both the glass and the mirrors, but specifically the mirrors is what you ought to look at. If you haven't seen that, or if you have, go back and watch it again so you can see what's going on. I'm going to use some of the techniques that I learned doing those tests on mirrors to create a project today on a 12 inch by 12 inch mirrored tile. Now, I've had several conversations with multiple of subscribers on private chats and private messages about them attempting to do this and not having the same results or same success rate as I was having. And there's a bunch of reasons why that could be. And the biggest reason would be in the glass or the mirror that you're using to attempt to do this on. I've tried going on the cheap and getting some mirrors from the Dollar Tree and discovered all mirrors are not created equal. You have glass mirrors, you have acrylic mirrors, you have mirrors with adhesive backings on them. You've got all types of different medias that they make the mirror with, and then they got different ways of putting the mirror on the glass slash acrylic slash splash or whatever. So in order for this to work, you would to have the same results that I have, and even if you use the exact same materials and settings, there's still no guarantee you're going to get the same results because it's a different laser. So there are no guarantees when you try to duplicate, emulate, or simulate. Anything that I do is ever going to turn out exactly like I did it. But I'll tell you what I did, what I used, and how, and what settings I used to try your best at it. So what I'm using is a glass mirror tile that I purchased from Lowe's hardware. They come, I think, 6 to a pack. They are glass, 1/8 inch thick glass with a silver plated mirror backing. Now I say silver plated because those mirrors I got from Dollar Tree, they weren't silver plated. They were done with, at first I thought they were even some kind of plastic, but it turns out they were glass because I broke them on purpose to find out. They're glass, but they use some type of mylar type of backing where it's a film they put on it and it adhesive covering protecting on it, and you can actually take your fingernail or just just your fingernail and just scratch that right up and it just peels off like paper, and you can see the mylar in the backing. So those don't do as well as my glass mirrors from Lowe's with the silver plated backing. You could probably get something on the cheaper mirror, but they're thinner glass. That's a factor. The paper instead of silver plate is a factor. You would just have to do your own testing to figure out what powers and speeds to use. But if you don't have a Lowe's in your neighborhood, as long as you're working with a silver plated mirror, you're probably going to come out with some relatively same success as what we're talking here. I'll put an image right there showing the Lowe's product number and product that I got. What else? Oh, and a link to the video on the previous mirror success in the description. So if you haven't seen it or if it's been a while, go back, watch that. If you have any more questions about this or the mirror technique after watching this, go back and watch that. So let's jump in here to LightBurn and take a look at the images that the image that I selected, and talk about the powers, and then we'll see how well she turned out. And I plan to put this in I want to do a complete burn on this one. I'm burning the entire 12-inch tile, and then I'm going to put her in a shadow box and backlight it with the LED. So that should give it a really unique look. It's not going to be the double burn like I want to do, Uh, that's another project on another day. So let's jump into LightBurn and see what we did. Okay, so this is the image that I selected to do the burn with on the back of the mirror. And this is a very high def black and white. If you go to your search engine of choice, I personally like Google, but this was Bing. If you just put in, I searched black and white high definition lion, and all these images came up, and these are some really good, spectacular photos. I plan on using something like that or this to do the other project that I'm looking to do. That's going to be a double burn where I plan to engrave the facial features from the back, just like the way I did today, and really just give a real nice detailed image, but then take the same image with a mask and cover, and without the facial features, just get all the mane and do it from the front with my masking tape technique that will then cause the glass to start to I guess crack and fracture, and hopefully that will give a really distinct and funky look to the mane and the hair. I think it's going to be neat, but the challenge of that is doing the double burn, getting those two lined up, well enough that it's going to look good. You can do it with putting, burning some targets in the corners and then use that for referencing to help frame it. But even then, with using the xTool and its limitations to get that's going to be tough, be challenging to pull it off. But let's see, where's the one I used? Here, no, here. So that's the guy I used today, and simply right click, come on, right, where'd it go? There he is. Right click, copy image, and then come into LightBurn and right click again and paste. Now, once I pasted him in there, I did not alter, adjust, didn't do anything to this image whatsoever, because if we look, this thing was, where'd I see it at? It's extremely high resolution. I don't know how I seen it a minute ago, but it's extremely high resolution photograph. View image. No, it's not showing me. Anyway, that's what I like about my Google. There it is. So it's 1365 by 2048. I mean, that's really high resolution. So there was no need to change or anything about that. I did create a mask and focus just on his face and centered that over my work page, and put a 12 by 12 toolpath on there for my mirror. And this is actually, if we look, it's 12.2. So it's just a little larger than the mirror tile that I've got. That way, it's a complete burn all the way across, even though the majority of the perimeter has no burn. And that's what I liked about this, is the gradual ease into that image. And it is burning there as an image. Ignore the newsprint. The newsprint has nothing to do with anything. Say, okay, that's just a label that was on that layer. There we go. So I did this on a grayscale image, and I did it line interval of a 0.05, which is 500 DPI. I did it at 30 millimeters a second on the grayscale with a max power of 100% and minimum power is 0. That way, when it got to the edges and there's nothing there, it's just pure mirror, no burn at all. So that gives a complete gradient of burn, bringing that image in. So 30 millimeters a second, grayscale, 100% to 0% on the power settings. bidirectional scanning and 500 DPI, and this thing came out quite impressive. It's kind of neat on the backside too, because if you recall what I just said about the multiple layers of paint and plating, well, with the varying powers, it burns away that protective painted finish. Then it burns away this one happens to be, it looks like copper, and then it burns through the silver and then starts etching the glass. So on the back, on the reverse of this, you see each of those layers on the glass. So it's kind of a neat look to it in and of itself. But I was after the mirrored and the backlit mirror, and so I got everything cleaned up. Now, one thing you should be aware about a burn this big and this detailed, let's look at the preview here. Come on. Oh, that's not the preview. That's the preview. Takes a second because we're such a big image, high resolution. There we go. So down here, you're seeing 14 hours, 13 hours and 51 minutes. It's a 14-hour burn to burn this fella into a 12 by 12 tile. I'm happy with the way it turned out. It was an impressive image to begin with. So I don't know that I'll do too many. Somebody just subscribed. Thank you. I don't know I'd do too many more of these full tile 12 by 12 burns because of how long it took. But I can see doing this technique and doing some designs on the edge or personalizing the mirror, if inspirational saying across the bottom, what have you, and you can frame it, and that wouldn't even need to be backlit. Just put some really good contrasting color behind it on the back of the mirror, and then putting that in the frame, and that could be kind of cool. But this, it's worth doing once. And if you got multiple lasers, you might do it several times, because I can see this bringing a pretty penny at a craft show. So let's take a look at my final product here. Okay, so overall, I'm really happy with the way that turned out. That's a couple bucks in a mirror. Now, it was 14 hours to burn that. 14 hours to burn that. Wow. But a couple bucks for the mirror. I got the Shadowboxes on sale at Michael's. They were buy one, get one free, and I ended up getting 4 of them. I think I spent about $7, $8 a piece on the boxes. So, $10 in materials plus 14 hours of my time. But, a couple hours, not even a couple hours, a few minutes of design time, and just waiting for the laser to do its thing. So, I don't know. But I haven't seen anything like this in other shows or promotions. So I don't really have much of a way to gauge on putting a price on it. But we'll put 60 bucks on it and see what happens. So, if you hung around this long, you must be taking something away from the videos, and I appreciate you watching. I appreciate it if you've already subscribed. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button, and it should be right there, I think. But hit that subscribe button, and thank you for watching. Now, something that I have not disclosed in this video until now. So only you hanging around this long are going to know this last little tip. When I put the mirror down on the laser bed to do the engraving, I put down a fresh piece of black cardstock or heavy gauge construction paper that does two things. It gives that laser a immediate stop at, because it's at 30% going through 1/8 of a glass and the mirror. It's not going to burn through the paper, but it also gives a clean surface for that mirror to sit on, and it don't get any soot or marks from the honeycomb bed. So there's a tip for you for hanging around. Lay down a piece of black paper, and I use a dark color, if anything. That way, if there's any bleed through or effect from, because it actually will get oily. And if it comes into the glass, if there's any fracturing of the glass, then you don't want hot pink, you know? All right, well, this has been Steve, Hobo with Wood. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.